Hello, one and all. Tyson Johnson, Six Pack Dad Tribe, joined tonight with Jeffrey Smith and Joe Hempel, two of our kind of early one-on-one clients who have been just phenomenal leaders in the group, who are making excellent progress. And this is kind of my dream as a coach, is every once in a while to get rock stars on and let them tell their story and what's working. So that's the purpose of tonight's panel interview, so to speak, just the three of us hanging out as friends. If you're new to our group or listening for the first time, what we're all about is helping working professional dads, entrepreneurs, business leaders be fit and healthy with an approach that's sustainable, giving them support and accountability, and basically like a family to hang out with, a tribe. So guys, grateful for your generosity. I know you're busy, and this is after working hours. You're taking time away from your family. Before we get started, we were talking about we have a Marco Polo group with other enrolled dads. It's just been really special. Jeffrey or Joe, either of you guys want to comment on today and just what you wanted to say about the energy? And if not, that's fine too.
I thought it was really cool to see that many videos pop up in one day, because I do check it periodically, and I think at the last check it was like 7 videos that had popped up, and people just being comfortable and talking and sharing. And Greg had that fantastic chart that went back 100 years on it, tracking his weight loss in there, and being a data junkie, that kind of stuff is really cool to me, and it shows people are really involved in trying to move the needle forward on what we're trying to do. So just to see the participation made me feel real good that other people are as comfortable and willing to share and be accountable.
Yeah. Joe, any other thoughts?
Sure. Yeah. It's fun to see all the different comments that are coming on there. And Jeffy, you're right. That spreadsheet was, it came straight from an accountant's brain. I tell you that much. So.
Right.
100 years, it might be 200 years.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Compared to my tracking, But no, the thing is this is what's so cool about the group, and what's becoming a part of is we're starting to create this little ecosystem, this little community of people who are like-minded, have similar challenges. I think everyone who's who's a dad. I mean, there's a title Dad Bod for a reason. And that dad bod is something I think we're all united behind and excited to see what we can do to finally have a lifestyle. And that's actually what I think we're mostly here to talk about, is this lifestyle of transformation specifically for working dads and working professionals. And that's what's really cool, to be united as a group of other, dads, of other, men who really want to have not just a sense of community, but actually something that works.
Yeah, well said. So tonight I'm sitting in a hotel, just got done with the full day work. Joe just got out of a business meeting, rushed home for this. Jeffrey's leaving tomorrow to go out. So we're all, we're living this together. So let's kick things off, you guys. I got ahead of myself a little bit. Jeffrey, I'll start with you. Just give each of you, take a minute or two, tell us, introduce yourself, your family, what you do for business. You can give what's the word, an unabashed little marketing campaign for yourself if you want.
Hobbies. We'll take the plugs anytime we can get them.
Right.
Yep.
No kidding.
Yep. So Jeffrey, go ahead, and then Joe, you'll be next.
Jeffrey Smith. I joined 2 months ago, I believe, right around that point there. I'm going to be 50 years old in a couple weeks, and I received my AARP invitation in the mail today, so that was a little bit of a drag to see that show up in the mail. I have a job. I work for Unigroup, which is the parent company of Mayflower and United Van Lines. I'm the national procurement manager for Unigroup. But I also am an entrepreneur. I own a business, a convenience store in Illinois, small business that me and my partners are trying to grow. And I'm really big into motivation. I've overcome quite a few hurdles over the last few years, both physically, financially, and it's fun to see the ball rolling in the right direction. And I'm trying to help create that energy for other people to move forward in that as well. So it's my wife is very supportive of everything I do and appreciative of my physical interests as far as being part of this group, the amount of time that I like to spend in the gym. We've been married 27 years. Will be 27 years this year, and right after my birthday. So we've got two girls, 25 and 20. I have one grandson who's 1 year old. His name's Jack, and my youngest daughter will be getting married next May, and we'll truly be empty nesters at that point. So looking forward to that a little bit. You know, I used to gripe a little about the noise in the house, and now I'm going to lament probably it being a little bit too quiet and missing the kids rattling around in the home. But, you know, that's me in a nutshell. I love physical fitness. I like cycling. I'm a former triathlete. I love to lift weights. You know, getting strong and putting on muscle is easy for me. Shedding the fat is not. That's always been my challenge, you know, since my early 20s. So this is a great group, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Yeah, thanks, Jeffrey. I love your story. I'm thinking a lot of people can relate to that, and this is a cool panel interview because you and Joe have a lot similar, but quite a bit different as well. Actually, all three of us. So, Joe, take it away. Who are you?
All right. So, Joe Hempel. I guess there's a handful of ways I can take the direction here, but married about 16 years now. Have little family. We're in Lehigh, Utah. We, married for a good long time, have 3 kids. So I have a 13, a 13, 11. Don't let me let the 11-year-old forget that. He'll get mad at me for saying that. Sorry. They're growing up too fast. I shouldn't have a teenager at all. That's the bottom line. And then we have a caboose, 4 years old. My wife's a nurse. She works for a breast cancer surgery doctor here in Utah County. And, we have that caboose because we put her through nursing school, and we decided we weren't done when she was, through that. So, and we're really grateful for it because having our 4-year-old, he is full of life and energy, and we get to be like second-time parents. It almost feels like. It's kind of cool. But I mean, there's a 5-year gap, and our 11-year-old, who I claim is 9, him and the 4-year-old love hanging out with each other, right? They are just pals, right? And it is really cool to see that relationship. It's kind of fun. For me, professionally speaking, I am a division president of a talent acquisition, headhunting, and recruiting company. Our claim to fame, or the reasons that we're really good at what we do specifically is we coach, train, and develop hiring management to interview and select better. Some crazy statistics out there that 50% of all hires fail within 18 months. Can get you some numbers on that, but the simple answer is most companies are focused on technical skill sets when they should be focused on alignment and goals. And that's what we coach folks to change about their processes. So for us this is still a young business. We launched it in February. A lot of fun launching a business right before coronavirus came out. So tell you this much, this has been the hardest 8 months of my life, and I'm loving every minute of it. So, but things are starting to change. Things are coming back, and it was kind of cool because at some of my lows, had an opportunity to meet up with Tyson, and just so frustrated with my fitness goals. Give you some history on that. I lost approximately 70 pounds, probably about 5-6 years ago. As you can tell, I lost it, but I didn't lose it permanently. So, for me, that was a big challenge because I'd lost the weight and it's slowly come back. So, that chart we were looking at, mine has kind of that same pattern. My situation is like, I now know, like, if I want to go lose weight, I can go do it in 3-4 months. I lost 70 pounds in 4 months. I can do it. I did it before. I can do it again. That's actually created a barrier for me, because that program was great about pulling the weight off, but it was terrible for keeping the weight off. And it was not a lifestyle. It was a yo-yo. And when I first talked with Tyson, my first thing out my mouth is, Tyson, if this isn't something that I can live, I'm not interested. The other part is if this is something where you give me a bunch of things to go check in online, that's not me. That's not what I'm looking for. I need some one-on-one. I need someone who's going to hold me accountable, who's also going to coach and train and work with me. And while we're many states away, the thing is that we found ways to be able to stay accountable and stick with a program. And I'm a little bit different than Jeff. I don't work out. I can put muscle on too. I had a knee injury 1.5 years ago, and knee surgery that followed, and I'm still recovering through that. And it's just not coming together. And exercise isn't on my list right now. With starting a new business, I'm trying to nail diet. And you know what they say is you can't outwork out a bad diet. Well,
No,
fortunately for me, exactly. It's like, I laughed because I was working with somebody the other day, and he's like, I just got back from the gym. Now I'm eating cheesecake. I'm like, dude, that's like 1,200 calories in that cheesecake. I guarantee you did not do that in the gym, right? And he's like, yeah, you're right.
You just made Jeffrey's eyes close out of disgust right there. I saw that.
Exactly. But the long story short for me is the reason I'm here comes down to is I'm frustrated with everything that I've tried. Everything. Tried keto. Tried this other program. I don't want to put names out there that, it was meal plans. Crash course, did a great job at losing the weight, but not about maintaining it off. I've tried literally everything else under the sun. And what I'm loving about this is, while I'm not at my fitness goals yet, and I've got still a long road and a long journey ahead of me, I finally have a little bit of hope and a glimmer into that, and that hope is so cool, because I feel like I have finally something that I actually can do, that I can do forever, and that I actually like it. Imagine that, having a program where you like doing it.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer, right? So that's kind of where I'm at, and that's me. Hopefully that gives you enough there, Tyson. I'm a talker, so sorry about that.
Well, what's awesome is you kind of answered my my second and third tier follow-up question. So that's perfect, Joe. And love what you said. Jeffrey, why don't we flip it back to you? And you talked briefly about putting on muscle is easy, but melting the fat is trickier. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about why you joined the program, and without maybe elaborating on A to Z what we do in the program, what you're finding. So number one, why'd you join? And number two, what feels different so far now that you're 2 months in?
Well, as I move through some of my own personal goals, at my age, I realized, there's a reason there's coaches out there, to help you be accountable and to guide you through a plan. And I've yo-yoed so much over, 30 years of trying to be lean and fit. And I get close, but I've never been able to truly shed that last layer of fluff, if that's what we want to call it, so I've never seen my abs. I feel them all the time, and I talk to them, but they're not showing up. I haven't convinced them to appear. And it is frustrating because, as much as I've been involved with fitness particularly since 2012, and I was a big weightlifter in college, and then that kind of fell to the wayside for a long time because I got married, we got busy work, jobs, all kids, which really isn't an excuse, until you and I have talked about that a little bit. We find time to do what we want to do. And in 2012 was you talk about hitting rock bottom. I hit that fitness wise. My weight ballooned almost up to, I can't even tell you how much I weighed because I was too afraid to weigh. So I'm guessing that the first point that I weighed was brave enough. I was just shy of 270 pounds. So I'm guessing I was 280 plus, maybe even 290 if I were to hazard a guess. And I lost all that. I got down to 199 pounds. And right now I'm sitting at 220. So I put a little bit of it back on. And I just realized that having a coach would be beneficial to me. It helped me stay focused, to give me not necessarily a diet, but a guide on how to maximize my nutrition. Help me stay accountable is the biggest thing. I think somebody in the group posted on a video how hard it was for them sometimes to stay on track and fall off the wagon. And I understand that. It's real easy to, particularly when you have a family that you're not all doing the exact same thing. So, I stick to my intermittent fasting and my protein and looking at all that kind of stuff. And then you walk in the kitchen and someone's got the Costco sized thing of orange cheese balls that are open. Well, one cheese ball doesn't kill you. It's all air and orange dust. But, 5 handfuls of cheese balls will, put you over the edge into some sort of cheese ball coma that ends up being a negative for the rest of the night. And that's why I joined the program, was to really seek that accountability so that I know that every week I have to talk to Tyson. And, I made a commitment. He asked me, to follow the program, what he says. And to not do that would be, I think, there's a certain degree of dishonesty and disrespect that might come along with that, because you've asked me to be committed to this. And you've proven yourself that the program works. You have abs. We have a whole group of guys here. One dude has abs, and it's Tyson. So why wouldn't we listen to that guy? And that's the whole impetus behind this. And what I find unique, and I just talked about a little bit of it, is just the accountability of it. We can all subscribe to an online program. We can all go out to Instagram and find a fitness coach, that's going to send us a plan, send us a diet, give us a workout and do everything for us. But I don't feel there's that real accountability. Tyson's my friend, so there's genuine interest in me succeeding in the program. And that's the difference in what we're talking about here, because it's not just a coach, and I'll say we're the athletes in this example, a coach athlete, relationship. It's more than that. And Tyson spends as much time figuring out how to hack our code for us as we do trying to hack our own code in making this happen. And that's the important thing and the difference.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, both of you. Before we move on, Joe, anything else you want to add? Are we good?
Put me on the spot here. I mean, Jeff summed it up pretty dang good.
Yeah, that was good.
That accountability piece. The thing is that kind of blew me away is even while I was on vacation, right? You were committed to helping me make better choices, and I knew the next week I was going to talk to you, and I still, your whole thing through that vacation piece is enjoy yourself. Just don't enjoy yourself too much, right? But enjoy yourself within reason, right? You deserve it. You're going on vacation. You're not going to do this again for another 6 months, maybe a year. So live a little bit here, Fortunately, I wasn't going on a cruise. I don't know if I would have listened to you if I was going on a cruise, but we weren't allowed to go on cruises this year anyway. So that was kind of a fortunate thing. But going out on that trip, I made just a little bit better choices than I would have before, because I knew the week I was coming back, I was going to have to be a little bit accountable to you, and that accountability piece is exactly what Jeff is talking about. And also, it's like, not just do you spend the time hacking, but you do allow for life. Right? And how many times have you told me to go eat pizza, Tyson? Right? You said, go eat pizza with the family. I'm like, but I'm breaking the program. He's like, dude, you're not breaking the program. That's part of the program. So that was one of my most favorite things about some of this stuff. You're not breaking the program. It's part of it. This needs to be, again, a lifestyle change. And that doesn't happen overnight. And that's my next favorite piece to talk about,
Right.
which is the little by little by little transformations. Guys, like, I'm finally starting to hit some solid weeks after each other. The first 3 weeks, Tyson, I didn't think you were going to want to keep me as a client, to be honest with you. Because after those first 3 weeks, they're just laughing about it because you're like, Joe, like, we like log your food. You're like, we're not even on what you're eating yet because you're not even logging what you're doing, right? But little by little, step by step, just taking me along this journey. And, you know, I'm not fully where I want to be. I don't think any of us yet are, right? Tyson's the only one with the 6-pack, but
Yep.
he keeps having this imaginary dream that I can get there. I still think it's imaginary to me because it's like, yeah, 6-pack, sure, that's funny. I've never had one my entire life.
Right.
I don't believe you. But every time I say that, you know what his response back is lean on my faith a little bit. I know I can get you there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the type of coach that Tyson is, right? So.
Absolutely.
Okay, the spotlight is shining too much on me. Let's shine it back on you guys here. But thank you for
You're the reason
kind
we're here,
words.
Tyson. So
No, that's awesome. So if you guys are comfortable, Jeffrey, let's flip it back to you. Where are you at now in your weight loss journey, and what do you feel is working well? If you've already answered this, just expand.
I think I'm right around 13 pounds down from where I started. I was right around 234. I'm in the 221-ish area. It's slow going, you know. I had one pretty solid week in the beginning. And then it's been, you know, 1.5, 2 pounds since. You know, and the way I looked at it was, you know, 2 pounds a week is reasonable. And you talk to a lot of people, and that's the safe recommended. You know, if you lose 1.5, 2 pounds a week, then you're more likely to keep it off than big weeks. So, you know, my benchmark was at 8 weeks should be at 16 pounds, around 13 pounds, maybe 12.5 pounds, whatever that comes out to. So I'm not that far off the mark when you look at it that way on a chart. You know, I'm not too far behind. I'm not only at 7 pounds, you know, or 8 pounds where I'm falling behind that mark that keeps growing. I can catch up to it, I think, and increase my average, you know, so that I do get back on track and catch the rabbit. And lack of better terms, it's. So what was the rest of the question there? Where am I at now?
Yeah, and actually, I don't want to. Joe said this awesome. The small victories that are happening along the way. Tell us about a couple of those, and then Joe, I'll ask you the same question.
You know, it's the one victory that I look at every week is nailing my nutrition. You know, where I know I've hit what I've set out to do that week. So whatever the scale bears out, I still followed the program. So, you know, a bad scale day, I can't look back and say, well, you know, it was that, you know, 8-foot sub that I ate on Tuesday that screwed up everything that I did. And I knew that it was going to screw it up, but I'm still mad because the scale's telling me, you know, I haven't had weeks like that. I've had good nutrition weeks, and Dice and I go over that and look at it. And, you know, so we know that the nutrition is the plan is being followed that way. You know, the idea is, or the challenge is hacking my slow, ridiculous metabolism to finally respond to what we're doing, you know, and we're beating it down slowly. And it does respond. It's just in tiny bits rather than big, huge chunks. And we both know my goal is way out there in the future. So it's not disappointing because it's not like I need to weigh or want to weigh 199 pounds and have abs by September 20th. You know, that would be something crazy going on, and I most likely would probably be dead, you know, at that point. So having abs and being dead that's not how the program's supposed to work. That's, you know, but those are the small victories for me. And to maintain the energy level I have, to be able to still perform well in the gym when I'm doing the strength training and not feel like I've compromised anything. Those are the small victories.
Yeah. Just to pay you a quick compliment before we go on to Joe. Jeffrey I would say your body is probably one of the more stubborn out of the group. Maybe it might have to do with just the amount of time and energy you've already put in the gym since college, and the fact that this isn't new to you. It's like your body is a stubborn mule responding with the fat loss. But conversely, you have a gift of discipline that is just unparalleled. Like every time I talk to you, I come away wanting to be a more disciplined person. So Joe, flipping it over to you, I don't want to steal one of your mini victories, but something I've learned from you is enjoying the journey is, I have found, profound. So anyway, I love your perspective on this. Feel free to share any mini victories you talk about, enjoying pizza, focusing on the journey, other things that come to mind as what's working well for you.
I feel the smile creeping on my face. You're right. The journey is important to me because I'm sick of the promises of instant victory, just like you're talking about the instant abs, right? So I'm just tired of being promised something and not being able to actually get there. And the thing is I don't care how long it takes me to get to my goals. And, maybe to share with everybody, I'm way far from my goals, comparatively speaking, right? So I'm a 6'4" guy. I started this at 306 pounds. I'm at 288 today. So, I'm getting close to the 20-pound mark, but crossing a 100 marker for me was exciting. Getting out of the 290s is another wow. I've been in the 290s to 300s range. I was before coronavirus, right? I was like 293-ish, right? After coronavirus, 306 during coronavirus, right? Going, what the heck, right? I've got to do something, and trying to figure out that something, right, has been challenging. And it's just like, I was at that point in my life where I just kind of said, I can have a successful business or I can have my weight goals. I think I'm going to go down the successful business part. And Tyson's actually come along and helped me kind of open my mind for that. So for me, it is all about the journey. I've got a long way to go, right? Like the fact that there's a possibility of getting down to that weight and staying at that weight, I haven't seen that in my entire adult life. The last time I weighed 230 pounds besides losing that 70 pounds was when I was 21. So we're literally talking nearly 20 years ago, right? So I'm 38 now. So 21, we're talking about 16, 17 years ago, right? And that was the last time I saw 230 pounds. And I've never really been able to have something that's been consistent in my life. And I just am tired of empty promises. And I want something that's a lifestyle. So if you want to talk about any of the challenges, for me, some of my challenges are, I already know this because Tyson and I hit it on every week, right? I need to exercise more, right? Water is a huge thing for me. And I got to get rid of the diet sodas. And if I do those three things as the next part of my journey, because I'm spot on. I was not the guy that, I started this and Tyson's like, you're going to need to log your stuff. And I was like, I don't want to do that, I'm at that stage, Jeff, where I'm saying I didn't even want to get on the scale. I'm afraid of what I'm going to look at. I'm afraid of the disappointment I have in myself by just getting on that freaking scale. I can't tell you how many years of my life that I've looked at that scale and gone, gosh, if I get on that thing, I've got to know. And if I know, then I have to do something about it. And if I do something about it, then I'm going to fail. And then if I fail, I'm going to be right back to where I start. So why should I start? And it's just a circle talk, right? I can imagine that every human being, at least every fat human being, feels the same way, right? So this journey for me is important because it is, I just don't want this magical transformation and then it all comes back in a few months. It's just been there, done that. I don't want that. So So I know the three things that I need to do right now to make a pretty improved difference. I'll get there, but the whole thing for me is let's do a little bit at a time. I'm not taking on too much, right? I'm doing way more, right? Jeff, just like you, I'm locking down. I've locked down my diet pretty well. Now I've got to lock down a couple of these other things. I'm not going to do them all at once. I'm going to do them slowly over the next little bit. And if that means sacrificing, losing 10 pounds faster, I don't care. I'm going to do it that way because it's what I need right now.
Right.
Oh, I want to pause there for a second because there's a great lesson, I think, for those who are listening. Joe, something you've been really good at is self-awareness and knowing what a potential breaking point could be, and trying, with a crazy business you're trying, or crazy times to be running a business. Tyson, if I try to implement these other things, I'm going to fail. And I think that's one reason why you've been so successful so far, is knowing what your limits are and being patient with yourself. So
like, give you some clarity around that too. I had a business partner, one of my key employees, leave a couple weeks ago, and my number of hours has increased significantly. The amount of pressure and stress to do this, the pressure to perform for my investors, for everything else that's happening inside of my business, my stress is through the roof. So just holding on to the ground I've gained is an extraordinarily huge victory for me. And I don't want to let that go. And so when Tyson meets with me each week and he's like, can we push you a little bit further? I'm just like, at this stage, like, I'm in survival mode. And I don't know if you'd realize this though, but if this was, a year ago, 6 months ago, without having met Tyson, I'm stress eating like crazy. And I'm gaining 15, 20 pounds, furthering myself from this. And so the victory that I'm not, and I'm still losing a pound or two here and there, is just, for me, it is earth shattering.
So one other thing to pause on that. What's cool is, and this is going to transition, Jeffrey, I'll give you one more second before we move on here in a second, but I mean, we have a really neat circle of guys. What you're looking at right now is two guys who are rock stars. And I mean, we have a nursing home administrator in our group who's dealt with COVID multiple times, and he's responsible to manage that for his facility. And what's cool about all of you guys is this was not a convenient time period to join this or to do it. And you guys didn't buy into the fallacy and the mirage that later will be more convenient. And that's what's cool is, you look at these stressful times you're going through and you're making these victories. And it's like, if I can do this now, I can do this anytime. Because in one of the most stressful time periods of my life, look at what I did. Look how strong I was. So that, for me, that's very fulfilling. Jeffrey, I want to talk about how else are you guys staying motivated? And just, but let me pause for a second. Any other thoughts before we move on, Jeffrey? Are you good? Okay. So are we good? Have we covered what's keeping you guys motivated? Do you feel we've addressed that topic pretty good, or do you have more you want to say on that? Jeffrey, let's start with you.
One thing that really keeps me motivated is really the accountability that we've talked about. I know that we're going to have a call every week and talk about stuff. And the fun part for me is our conversation isn't always centered around, the weight loss journey and what we're doing. We talk about a lot of things. And to me, that really helps me. I look forward to that phone call, because I don't even know what the right word is for it, but it kind of rounds out my week, so to speak. I have this really meaningful conversation with a friend, who's helping me through this journey to help me hack these things and make these tweaks. And I know he's put thought into it, but then we also have good conversation around that, that doesn't necessarily center on, let's talk about your food intake. Let's talk about your diet. What are you doing exercise wise? And that kind of stuff. So that is important to me. Those are motivating things for me, because I want to get from phone call to phone call. I'm only working in the small increments.
Yeah.
I'm going phone call to phone call. I'm not trying to go, start of the program to my ultimate goal, and is floating between that. We've taken this off in tiny snippets, which allows me to tweak, and feel comfortable saying, hey, maybe I screwed up this week. I don't know what I did. Wasn't that much progress. And we can look at that. And you're only 7 days down. You're not 2-3 months down and then saying, what happened? Why didn't this work? Every 7 days there's a reset, and that's very motivating for me to know that I'm going to get that input and that accountability. Plus I have goals. I do want to hit these goals. They're important to me. In my entire life, I've never been able to hack that last bit of fat loss. And I'm excited to have that happen. I'm really excited to be that grandpa and that dad, that has made this transformation, because you see the stereotypical pictures and the depictions of what does a grandfather look like? What is the dad bod stuff, which, it irritates me when people mock that, because, most of us internally don't want to look like we're out of shape. We just haven't figured out how to put this thing together ourselves. It's not that we're lazy or unmotivated or something's wrong with us. It's trying to figure out how do we fit it in, and maintain the lifestyle that Joe talks about is the lifestyle part of it. It's not just, I think almost any of us could go out and crash course, 60 days and come away and, at the weight we want to be at. But like we talked about earlier, Tyson, a lot of times it's not about the weight. It's that fat. Well, I want to lose the fat. I don't care how much I weigh. I just don't want the fat on my body. And so there's a difference there. If I could weigh 220 that I do right now at 10% body fat, that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. But to get back to that, I got to lose the fat, which takes me down to like the 190s. And then I could put that lean muscle back on and be back at 215 or 220 at that low body fat. And that's exciting to me to know that those adjustments and that part of the journey still lays out there for me. I can get to those milestones and those benchmarks. I see them, out there on the horizon. So this is the beginning part to get to those other parts that will be, for me, infinitely more fun to be involved in the rebuilding process, and not just this, this losing process, because there's a little bit of fear involved with the loss process part of it, so, it is a little scary to think if I got down to 190 pounds, what do I really look like at 190 pounds? I don't know. I haven't been 190 pounds since 1993, so there's 27 years. That was my wedding. I was 187 pounds at my wedding, and I've never been that since. So I'm excited. That's the motivating part.
Nice. Awesome. Joe, what's keeping you motivated, my friend?
I love what Jeff said was we're not trying to tackle a mountain. We're trying to tackle a week,
Yeah.
Yes.
That is super helpful. But little known about me is that's not enough. Last October, I went to one of these places that had these signs up on the side of the road, a big, huge sign. It's actually a national brand. I'm not going to throw out names because that's not the purpose of this, but I signed up for this program and had a coach who was working with me week by week and monitoring my food. And after 2 months, I had to quit. And if you want to know like the main difference for me, I mean, besides that the plan that we put together is actually coming together so much more nicely than that. The biggest thing that's for me, and I'm sorry to say it like this, but Tyson, it's been a huge factor to you is I'm a dad, and the guy that was coaching me, like literally, he was this 21-year-old kid, eat more or eat less, right? Work out more, right? And just like, I never thought about that. Thanks, right? Right.
Brilliant.
So, genius. Like, and how much am I paying for that advice, right? It just was like, after 2 months of that, I could not go back. It was just like, this guy had no idea who I was, what made me tick, what was important to me, what my values were, where my time was spent, what my challenges are. And the thing that's kind of really just helped me get through that is working with a dad who is a working professional like me, who is balancing all these different priorities, right? For me, new business, but for Tyson, having a position where you have a lot of demand on your time, having a family with a lot of demand on your time, being a good husband with demand on your time, right? And then all the pieces, and then fitting fitness and exercise and health into all of that crap. It's like, this is what you're saying. I don't think it was what Jeff is saying. I don't think most people think of us as wanting that. We don't, but we do. We feel internally like failures because we feel like we're failing our kids. We feel like we're failing our wives.
Right.
We feel like we're failing
Absolutely.
because we don't know how to put that piece together, haven't known how to put that piece together. So you want to know what motivates me, Tyson? And I mean, sorry to throw this back at you. It's working with someone who gets me.
Yeah.
That's great feedback, you guys. And I'm going to pause here for a second. So this is kind of what's cool is you guys, the two of you, are the front runners at my first crack at one-on-one coaching, because for a few years I had been doing group coaching, dads, but men and women, kind of mixed results. And it's taken like who I am as a person to a whole new level, even just over the last 2 months. So you guys are helping reinvent who I am. Like Joe sent me a Marco Polo a couple months ago, and that changed this business because I'm in rural Missouri, limited cell phone reception, mixed schedules for clients, and connecting one-on-one was tough. And now
No. I got to jump in on this one. It wasn't just tough. We would have a coaching call and he would break up and call me 5 minutes later, only to have another 5 minutes where he was breaking up again. And so I slowly introduced this Marco Polo thing to him. I'm like, hey, check out what I'm doing with this thing, right? Hey, yes. I don't know if you considered using this, but this might be a game changer for you, man.
and guess what every single one-on-one client now uses as video walkie-talkie support at their convenience.
Yeah.
Let's not give Marco Polo a plug too much because they're starting to try to charge us more money for their service. But
yeah,
it's true.
Geez, so.
So we have about 5 or 10 minutes. I want to let you guys get back to your family. Answer this one very quickly. So we have an online course. We have a Google tracking sheet or MyFitnessPal. We have a LinkedIn group. We have a Marco Polo group. And then we have our one-on-one coaching feed. So those are the different aspects of the program as it sits today, because I'm a work in progress based on what's most helpful for you guys. Jeffrey, real quick answer, what part or parts have you found the most helpful? And I'm guessing you'll say the one-on-one coaching, but I just want your quick feedback on that.
I mean, absolutely, one-on-one coaching. If all the rest of it went away, the one-on-one coaching is essential in this part for me. I like the engagement on the media. I think that's cool to see the other guys engaged and participating. That gives me energy too.
The Marco Polo group.
Yeah, the Marco Polo group. I like to see the LinkedIn comments and chat in there because I'm in that stuff all the time anyway. So I like to see it and I like to engage that way.
Cool.
And it gives people enough things to choose from. If you're not on LinkedIn, you don't have to feel left out. There's a Marco Polo, or you definitely always have the one-on-one. I think the one-on-one is essential. If everything else had to go away and pick one thing, I think the one-on-one for me is hands down what I enjoy and get the most benefit from.
That's helpful. Joe?
Yeah, for me, Marco Polo is kind of part of the coaching for me. So it's like those kind of go together for me a little bit because, you and I will do a bunch of different chats back and forth. And that's really meaningful for me. And I feel like that's a significant piece of the one-on-one coaching I'm receiving, right? It's not the whole thing. We still have our calls, but during the week, have a question, through you a message. I know how much windshield time you have, and I can see a light come alive in you every time I ask one of those questions. It's kind of fun. So so the one-on-one coaching, hands down, Jeff has it completely correct. One-on-one coaching, this doesn't work without that. I've got, that's my number one. My number two is that spreadsheet. I'm not going to say it's the spreadsheet. I got out of that spreadsheet as soon as I could feasibly get Tyson to agree to it. I said, I am not going to fill out a spreadsheet. I love spreadsheets, but I love spreadsheets when I make other people go put the data points in, and then I can go analyze it. So if I can pull raw data, I'll love that spreadsheet. But me creating the raw data, forget about it. It's not for me, right? Maybe it's just my sickness on that side. So I got over to MyFitnessPal as soon as I could reasonably get Tyson to start doing that, because I like plugging in that data. I don't have to go out and get how much fiber, how much protein, how much what's in things. Scan the barcode on the thing, or create meals that I eat regularly. Tyson, I have something that I'm going to admit during this. I've never once logged into your website, and I'm sorry. I've never once logged into your website.
That's okay.
The thing is that's not for me, right?
Yeah.
It's like I said at the beginning of this is a program. You want me to go log in a website and learn all this stuff from you? I'm not gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
And that's why when Jeff is saying one-on-one coaching, it's like, dude, I have gotten so much further than I ever have in my entire life, feeling like I have something I can work with because I have someone who's saying, don't do this, do this. Yeah. This little thing, do that instead, right? And that's been the game changer for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is, just like conversation we had a couple of weeks ago, Tyson, where you brought up your concern over, how I was eating pickles as a snack, and it sounds silly, but once you explain, here's the effect pickles can have. It does satiate my hunger, but here's the sodium factor involved in what you're doing. And, then I look at it and I'm like, well, crap,
Right? Pickles are okay. They have like 4 calories in them.
I really like those
problem.
But for me, that's important because I wouldn't think about that kind of stuff. And it's almost was like, oh, pickles, free calories. And, and there's no harm in having a pickle. It's a vegetable. It's got to be good for me.
Pickle. Yeah.
But
it's the only cucumber I can eat.
Yeah, I mean, it's, so that's very valuable because I would have not ever clued into something like that. And it's those tiny things that add up that make the big difference.
Yeah, great point.
I have a sodium story too, right? But this is the diet soda. I'm telling Tyson, we actually just had this call 2 days ago. I'm telling Tyson, right? Because he's asked me to log my food, right? Did not ask me to, or thought that I was logging everything, and I wasn't logging diet soda.
Sneaky guy, Joe.
You can't
Boom.
see that.
What?
Right? I have an addiction. And I'm not giving that addiction up before Labor Day. I've already told Tyson that. But one day, just one day, I plugged in my 44 ounce that I've been drinking because it's a diet soda. It has 0 calories. No big deal, right? No big deal. Just it's a diet soda. And I'm even talking to Tyson. He's like, yeah, an occasional diet soda is fine. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to open that door, right?
Occasional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Occasional. 44 ounce stop at the gas station like clockwork, right? Is occasional enough, right? We'll let that slide for now. I've told Tyson thing by thing, right? Little by little. I'm not there yet. So, but I'm still, even drinking that much soda, and it's diet soda. So it's not like calories is this huge thing, but at the end of the day is what blew my mind was the sodium, right? So my diet soda is like your pickle, dude, right?
Yeah.
So like my sodium intake is going through the roof. And here's what was crazy. So I'm not getting rid of my soda just yet. But what I've started to do is for every one of those I drink 2 things of those same things in water. And I pee like for days, I swear. But the thing is I did that and like 4 pounds dropped off the next week. it's
Sure.
just like, holy crap, right? Like there's something that I'm not getting with this, right? And so like that little tweak for me was like kind of like a was a good thing because I'm drinking way more water now and less soda because I'm drinking more water. But at the same time, I'll cross that bridge in the next few weeks, but I'm not just there yet, right? So, but that's this whole thing about the journey is, and I have a friend that I've referred over to Tyson at this point, and the thing is she's like in her first week and she's overwhelmed because there's so much. I'm just like, let's stop it. Just do one thing and do that well, and then do the next thing. And
Yeah.
Tyson's going to be all about that journey for you, and you're going to love it because you're not going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to do something little by little, actually make changes, and that's how we actually change as human beings, right?
Yeah.
That's been one of my best takeaways, I guess, too.
So one other shout out for you guys, and then I'll ask one other question. We'll wrap up. So selfishly, one of the things I love about I'm very picky about the avatar client I'm focusing on, and it's clean family dads who are highly successful in the working profession. What's cool is you guys all have this muscle called resourcefulness and creativity that gets blasted every day at work. And what's awesome is to see you guys apply that to fitness and health of your own accord. Like, for instance, Jeffrey, stalling out the last week or so. And then you were like, you know what, I'm going to start doing cardio at the end of my weight training to tap into fat reserves. Like Jeffrey came up with that idea. Here we are, a couple months in, that was all your idea. And it was an excellent idea that bodybuilders use. Joe, of your own accord, came up with cauliflower pizza, and I'm going to make, my pizza, if this is a weekend tradition, that's going to be my eat big meal with you guys are having these awesome distinctions, and that's the fun part, is I'm not the one coming up with these ideas. All I'm doing is patting you on the back for your own good ideas and trying to stay out of your guys' way. So
yeah, and then he steals them and shares them with everybody else. So we're totally cool with it. So.
That's right. But Tyson, you've created the environment to allow that creativity to blossom in those areas, because we're in the thick of it. We're trying to figure out how to get out of the weeds, and it forces us to think that way. And that's what this group has done. It's forced us into that situation.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys, so let's end with, this has been phenomenal. I, again, can't thank you enough. I think that there's a lot of nuggets for someone who's listening here they'll want to move forward with their life, whether they work with us or not. So advice this is a two-part question. Jeffrey, we'll flip it back to you. So advice to other dads who are looking to be more fit and healthy. What advice would you give them, or just final words of wisdom? And we can pause for a second, Joe. If either you need to pause and think about that, that's fine. But
I was just gonna say it's easy. Call Tyson, right? Done deal.
That's the easy one.
no.
It's the advice that I would have is understand that there's some patience required. Be realistic with where you're trying to get to, and in the time frame, because we can think big, but it requires a plan. So you want to lose 50 pounds. That's not a 30-day process for most people, and not with this program. So there has to be a reasonable time frame, and you got to be able to work through the frustration part and take criticism. And also remember that the fortitude is within ourselves. We do find time to do the things we want to do. So when there are people that do say, I don't have time, I can't do that like you. I have to eat bad because I'm on the road, and that's all that's available to me. I don't always buy into all that. There are circumstances that prevent us from working out. There are circumstances that limit our food choices, but they have to think, realistically and follow that advice that you give them, and put forth the effort. If they're not going to put forth the effort, and expect just your spreadsheet to solve the problem for them, they're not going to be successful.
Yeah. Yep. Well said. You've got a full-time job and are running a gas station and a girl getting married soon, and yet guess who's making time every day for this stuff? Jeffrey Smith is. So those words came out of your mouth nicely because you're living those principles, and I admire you for that. Joe?
Yeah, Jeff's words were way more eloquent than mine were. Like my biggest advice to this whole thing is seriously, it's and it's gonna echo a lot of what Jeff said, was make small steps, like change one thing and then change the next. Sounds simple. It's just like me earlier saying work, eat less,
Yeah.
exercise more, right? It's not that simple. If it was, everybody would be doing it. The simple thing is it's like, and it's hard to say but having somebody that helps keep you accountable
Right.
to that one small step change, so you can stack it. It has been like the biggest game changer for me with this entire thing. So if I'm talking to any of the dads out there, anybody that's, that you're trying to talk with, I would just say, listen, the simple thing is it's simple. It's not complex. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy, right? It takes willpower to make the change. It takes willpower to make the decision. It takes willpower to, go, instead of eating the bacon cheeseburger, you get it lettuce wrapped. And then once you get it lettuce wrapped, you move to the salad someday. I'll let you know when I ever do. But the thing is make small changes. And those small changes over time is what we all know in our lives. Everything else has worked that way. Why wouldn't it work that way with us? And it's exactly how it works. So.
Yeah, it's awesome.
100%. 100%.
So hang on the line for one more second, guys. I'll wrap this up. So to both of you, this takes a tremendous amount of courage to have got this snowball rolling down the hill. Admire and respect both of you. If you're listening or watching this video in the future and want to look at our program or talk, go to the sixpackdadtribe.com. You can check out our 17-minute little mini webinar there, or send me a message. I'll send you a PDF, and love to talk. So that'll conclude this session here.